Okay, welcome to the On Your Side podcast. I'm Gary Harper, and I'm joined today by Todd Martin, our audio engineer. How you doing today, Todd?
I'm good. I'm behind the glass, as always.
Yeah, I always like to say the man behind the curtain. So thanks for kind of subbing in. And if for people who don't know it yet, Susan Campbell is on maternity leave. So she has her hands full right now with three beautiful children, and one is probably maybe 3 weeks old right now. Is that about right, Todd?
Yeah, it's brand spanking new.
Yeah, she had a little girl, so congratulations to her. And like I said, I know she has her hands full. Hey, today we're talking a little bit about money and relationships, Todd. So you get those two together, and that could either be really volatile or really cool. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. It kind of falls under the category, I've been researching this, it kind of falls under the category, today's topic, of financial infidelity. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
That sounds really spooky, doesn't it?
No, I mean, it's a thing.
It is a thing. And it's basically when your spouse or your significant other is not really truthful with you when it comes to money, bank accounts, credit cards, debts, things along those lines. So we're going to break down financial infidelity, talk a little bit about it, and we're going to see if maybe some of our listeners kind of fall into this category. Hopefully they don't, but according to some numbers I've been looking at from WalletHub, it looks like a lot of people might be guilty of financial infidelity. So today we're joined by Christy Mathern. She is with WalletHub, and she joins us on the On Your Side podcast. Hello there, Christy.
Hi, it's good to be here. Thank you.
We really appreciate that. Now, you're joining us from Grand Junction, Colorado, and that's probably one of my favorite cities besides Colorado Springs. How are things up in Grand Junction?
A bit warm, honestly, but the heat wave's tapering off, so.
I don't want to hear about your heat wave because we're in Phoenix, okay? We're up to 117 on a daily basis. So when you say heat wave, what are we talking about up there?
Oh, in Grand Junction, we're talking about 104, 105.
Oh,
but it has gotten up to 109 or so in the past couple of years.
really?
We're in the desert, so it's not all. I mean, Arizona's definitely hotter.
Yeah.
But.
Wow, I'm a little surprised. It's breaking the triple digits up there, but okay. Well, survive, stay hydrated. Hey, tell us real quickly, so our listeners know, tell us a little bit about WalletHub, what it is, and what you guys kind of advocate for.
WalletHub is a personal finance company, and we work to empower consumers to lead financially healthy lives. We have all kinds of comparison tools and mortgage calculators and basically everything you would need to make good financial decisions.
Yeah, and that's important in life. Now, I know financial decisions can really either help a relationship or it can send it into a tailspin. WalletHub recently released some results from a very interesting survey. This was a nationwide survey, and it kind of breaks down into different categories. Tell us a little bit about what you found out.
Well, we found out some pretty surprising things, honestly. Some of the key points that we found out were that 2 out of 5 Americans, nearly 2 in 5 Americans, have a financial account that their partner does not know about, which is wild to me.
That's like that, yeah, 2 out of 5. That's like 40%. That's almost half.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, think about that. How many, and just like thinking about my own personal experience, the only account that my husband didn't know about of mine was a bank account that I forgot about, and it had $5 in it.
Okay, all right, that's an innocent mistake, but we're talking about financial accounts that maybe somebody is building some money in, or frequently putting deposits in, or maybe making withdrawals out of without telling the significant other. That's 40% of Americans. That's a little surprising to me. I wouldn't think it would be that high. What did you think about that?
Actually, it's nearly 2 in 5.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Americans.
2 out of 5. Yes, I misspoke.
But that's still pretty high. I think I was surprised by that stat, honestly.
Right.
It seems like there's some communication not happening in that 2 out of the 5 relationships, right?
When the other significant other or spouse finds out about the account, it doesn't really go in a great direction. It usually turns into a tailspin. And I'll give you a quick story. I have a friend who found out that his wife had a $20,000 credit card balance that he was unaware of. So she applied for this credit card, racked up $20,000, and then he found it in the mail one day. It was by accident. She didn't even put it on, a digital account or anything. And that led to a divorce, unfortunately. But that seems to happen because it falls under that category that I said earlier, financial infidelity. What about financial disputes? That was a category that you guys unraveled. What did you find with that?
We found that more than 1 in 5 Americans handle money disputes in a relationship by arguing or fighting with their partner. This is still, 1 out of 5 isn't huge, but that's what, 20%?
Right.
That's a lot. And it's still like, I actually thought that number would be a little higher considering what we hear about money disputes in marriages leading to divorce, etc. Like, I feel like a lot of people in relationships fight about money, but I'm glad that number is lower than I thought it was.
Can we talk a little bit about shared accounts? Todd, you and your wife, interestingly enough, you guys have a shared account, and then don't you have like individual accounts? And if you do, how does that work out for you guys?
Yeah, so we have a joint account that pays all of our bills, our mortgage, electric bill, stuff like that, even cell phones. And then whatever's left over from what you make goes into your personal account, and you can spend it on whatever you want. We don't have to have discussions about it. The other day, my wife, we just got some kittens, and she wanted to buy a very expensive automatic litter robot thing. And so...
Yeah, litter box.
It was a litter box, and it was very expensive. And I didn't bat an eye because it was not my money. If she wants to spend money on things, I don't care. If I want to buy a expensive set of Legos, even though I'm in my 50s, she doesn't care. As long as we continue to keep putting our money into our joint account, it's not a problem.
Right. So she has money for what she wants to spend it on, and you can't really say anything about that because it's in her account and you guys have already paid the bills. It's kind of like it's her money, and the same thing goes with you, which, by the way, buying Legos in your 50s, we need to talk about that in another podcast. I don't know if I should be worried about you or possibly happy.
No, you work with me. You come into where I edit, and I have many Lego sets in there, which I enjoy in my work environment. So
we're getting off topic though, but my favorite one is the Breaking Bad. It's not a van; it's a RV or something.
It's a meth lab RV. Yes.
So children-like.
Yes, I'm very adult.
Oh, that's good.
Oh boy.
You know what? Good for you, Todd.
Hey, tell us a little bit about, since we're talking about shared accounts, Christy. What did you find out with shared accounts? How are Americans doing with shared accounts, and do they do it a lot?
Well, we found out that nearly 1 in 3 people believe that sharing a financial account leads to more money problems than preventing them. That's an interesting statistic, but also 75% of people share at least one financial account with their partner. So like the 1 in 3 is about 35%, and the other side of this stat is 25%. So there's like, I don't know, maybe 10% of people over here that share an account, but also believe that it leads to more money.
Right. So how long have you been married? I'm going to get a little personal with you. How long have you been married?
10 years.
10 years. All right. Congratulations. And how do you guys work out finances, and what works for you?
Well, we actually keep all of our stuff separate. We keep our bank accounts separate. We do have one joint account in the case where somebody writes us a check with both of our names on it or something like that. The IRS likes to do that, but we also don't have children. So we have this situation where, we don't have to talk about every single little purchase. And if money gets tight, those little purchases can matter a lot more, right? So I think it does take a lot of this stress out of it. Now, that said, like, we do talk about money all the time. we do have discussions and we're upfront about our accounts. We tell each other if we're going to apply for a new credit card, et cetera. And we are added as authorized users on all of our respective credit cards. So
Mhm.
like there's nothing hiding in the shadows here. I
Right.
think that's important.
With having a shared account, and he has money in his account, does that worry you? I mean, maybe he's blowing it on golf clubs and all kinds of expensive stuff when maybe it could be going into a savings account.
I think I would be more worried about it if he were a big spender, but he's more of a cheapskate than me.
Yeah.
So I really am not worried about it.
That's good. Yeah. So listen, I picked on you, and I'll have to divulge. My wife and I, we've been married for 30 years. We have one single bank account, and everything goes into there, and then we pay bills out of that. And as far as I know, she doesn't have another bank account. But then again, that's where financial infidelity comes in. But I certainly don't have a secret bank account, and I don't believe she does either. But that works out for us.
And you were
Now-
saying the other day that you finally stopped writing checks.
Yes, I'm old school. Christy,
Congratulations.
I was writing checks for everything: mortgage, electricity, gas, everything. I was writing checks, and then it dawned on me how much money I'm spending on stamps. They're like 65 cents now. Did you know that?
Actually, no, because I don't like the last time I bought them was probably a year ago.
Yeah, they keep going up. And now I can't tell you how many stories I've done on check washing where you write a check and you put it in the mail and somebody intercepts it, washes it, and then, that $120 check turned into a $12,000 check.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a huge problem, and that should probably be maybe another podcast for us to do, but I've done so many stories on that. What about just siphoning money over? I mean, not necessarily a financial account, but maybe it is a financial account. I mean, kind of like siphoning money off to the side. I did that. I'll come clean. I did siphon just a small amount of money because I would take a guy's trip every year, and when that trip would come around, I didn't want to dig into our finances to splurge for this trip. I already had it kind of set aside, and then she found out about that, and then she wasn't happy. So I stopped doing that. But how common is that with Americans?
Well, two and five, like I said,
Okay.
2 and 5 people have secret financial accounts that their partner doesn't know about.
That goes back to that
So-
2 and 5 number. Okay.
Yeah, but it is a significant number of people there. And even if you're saving for a surprise like that,
Mhm.
like in your wife's case, it turned out to be a good thing, but it's still kind of, I think it depends on the person, honestly. It depends on the partnership. If you remotely think that your partner is gonna get upset that they weren't told about this extra money or something like that, you probably shouldn't do it.
One category, you said, which type of account are you most comfortable sharing in a relationship? Not surprisingly, a bank account. And then the next one, I guess that's not too surprising either. For the bank account, it was 57%, and 26% of people feel comfortable sharing a credit card account. That's probably not a bad idea because I would imagine you can kind of keep an eye on each other, and if spending gets out of hand, you might be able to say, hey, tone it down a little bit.
Right. I mean, the situation with credit cards is that in most cases, most couples are gonna, like, one person's gonna be the primary account holder and the other person's gonna be an authorized user. There really aren't a whole lot of joint credit card accounts available even these days. So it's gonna be that situation. And in that situation, one person is the primary person responsible for the bill. So the authorized user is not legally compelled to pay this bill. So yeah, it is a good way for like the primary account holder to keep an eye on the other person's spending. Like my husband and I, for instance, share a credit card for groceries. Like we use one credit card for groceries because it gets a high cash back rate or whatever. And I go to the grocery store more than he does. So, every once in a while he's like, what did you spend $200 over there on? And, we can have a conversation about that. It's, lately it's just been groceries, honestly.
Yeah.
But they are that expensive.
And I guess we're going to get into a dark area now about I guess, catching your spouse cheating. So I think there was one category about sharing financial accounts help you catch a cheating partner. Do you remember anything about that on your survey?
Yeah. So less than 2 out of 3 people said that they believe that sharing financial accounts can help them cheat or help them catch a cheating partner. And this is definitely something that can happen if you were the type of person to pour over financial accounts and statements and whatnot. If you suspect your partner of cheating on you, then you probably will find evidence of it somewhere in that. I would hope that, or maybe I wouldn't hope, but I would imagine that the people that are cheating on their partners are smart enough to not put it on the shared accounts. But
Yeah.
that can definitely tank you.
This makes me think of a florist I was talking about on Valentine's Day. The guys will come in and say, I need 2 different dozen roses. I need a dozen of red, and I need a dozen of red. Put it on my credit card. Send this one to my wife. Send this one to my girlfriend. And yeah, it goes on one card. And again, I digress. But when we're talking about money and cheating and financial infidelity, that certainly went straight to my head. Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's way too easy to get caught in that arena. So like if you're cheating, well, one, just stop. And and 2, you're probably going to get caught at some point.
Yeah. Can you imagine all the little deep secrets florists have? That is something else.
Yeah.
And again, that's another podcast that I just came up with. We'll have to have a florist on here talking about things.
You're good. You won't run out of ideas.
And we've seen, even in us doing our On Your Side stories, when we go out to our viewers in the community, we've had people open up to us about the story that we're working on is involving a secret credit card or secret spending money, and it's been obviously conversations that they've had to have with their spouse. So we've even seen it in what we do on a day-to-day basis, going out to people in the community, that we've had people talk to us about this.
Well, I mean, look at the lady we just spoke with recently. She was getting involved in a financial scam, and she actually changed the password on their joint bank account so her husband couldn't get in to see that she was sending money out. She thought she was sending it to a legitimate source, and it turned out to be a scammer. She was, looking for employment and wound up losing a lot of money. And then one day it was like within a week, he's like, I can't get to the bank account. And then she had to come clean with what she was doing. So it happens.
How terrible.
It happens more than you think. Look, yeah, this could go in all different directions, but I will be the first to tell you I am not a therapist for marriage. Christy, I know you're not a therapist. Todd, you're not a counselor either. But I do like talking about money, and I think some of what you revealed today, Christy, was really kind of eye-opening, and I think it might be a really good talker for a lot of people out there. If folks want to know more about either you or WalletHub, how do they find out more information about WalletHub and this survey?
You can just check out WalletHub.com, and we have a studies section. We put these out on a weekly basis, so check us out.
Okay, sounds good. Enjoy yourself. Keep cool up in Grand Junction, Colorado, and thanks for being on the On Your Side podcast.
Thanks so much for having me on. It was great.
The On Your Side podcast is produced by Brad Denny. Our audio engineer and editor is Todd Martin. Segment producer is Colin Stanton, and I'm Gary Harper.
And I'm Susan Campbell. If you have a problem you can't resolve, maybe we can. Send us a message through azfamily.com or our AZ Family mobile app. Look for the On Your Side section and leave us a message. Thanks so much for listening to the On Your Side podcast. And if you like it, leave us a review. We'll see you next week.
On Your Side is on Good Morning Arizona every weekday morning at 6:45 and 7 o'clock, and every weekday evening on Good Evening Arizona at 4 and 5 o'clock. You can also catch it on Arizona's Family News at 9 on 3TV every weeknight.